I'm finna do that about Otis and me right now.
Yeah, he's a hot item, Butch. Otis is a hot item, and you knew him.
And then this him. And if you got somebody's name you want to say, man, then ask me. His name wasn't Otis Reynolds. His name was Otis Stanley.
You know what? That's my fault, because Neil told me his name was Otis Stanley. So correct that for me.
All right.
Tell about that going away party. Neil is the one told me his name was Otis.
Right.
Neil told me.
Right.
Yeah, but he's hot.
Doing audio, right?
Straighten me out, Butch.
I'm gonna take care of that
Hey,
stuff.
listen, Eddie, give a shout out to your man at Big Boss. Hey, True Crime, Mr. True Crime. Can Big 1 minute, Mr. True Crime. Can Big Boss get a shout out from you right now?
Definitely. Hey, I got to shout out Big Boss Film, The Black Dispatch, and my man Otis Stanley. Rest in peace.
There we go. All right, family.
Love to all. And one last thing to you, Butch.
Yep.
Why don't you tell about, what was I about to tell you? Something about Otis, man. All the niggas y'all used to serve over there at the goddamn building across from the airport.
Oh yeah, you talking about when I? Oh yeah,
Off Connors,
I know when because I had about 4 apartments in that apartment building, right?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, and everybody in the city I seen come to that motherfucker, and I just come over there fucking with y'all.
I know it.
And somebody else was running that motherfucker.
JC, Dugan used to be over there too, because you know I got Dugan in another apartment in the other building.
That was, and see, I found out y'all was serving PA. All the Day-Day them. Did you know Day-Day?
Yeah, you talking about his daddy's name is. Oh, Day-Day, hold it. I'm gonna tell you who his daddy is. I'm gonna tell you who his daddy is. His daddy is goddamn. You understand? See, a lot of things I forget, but I'm gonna make a phone call and I have his name in a few minutes.
Please, I'm gone.
All right, man.
Peace.
Otis Stanley. He's about one of the best persons you can ever meet. He didn't mind helping a person. Me and him did a lot of things together. I'm talking about for years, you understand? Mm-hmm. And we started off, you understand? Like I said, I think I mentioned it before. G introduced me to Otis. Me and Otis started doing a little hustling, getting money and stuff, you know, selling packs and stuff like that, you understand? And then things got kind of big. And then we ran into a tight. And so like I said, we just stopped doing anything. Mm-hmm. I went to Alabama for a year or two. And at that time, Paul Orr, he was getting big money before I left and went to Alabama. But Paul, you understand, me and him was close because we did a lot of things together. So Otis called me and asked me when I coming back. I told him, you understand, I'll be back real soon. So he said, man, well, you need to come on back, man, because I got some things together. So I came on back. When I came back, I had been talking to Paul all the time. And Paul, you understand, he was having kind of problems. He was having little problems because he had got robbed a couple of times. And Paul, you understand, had a hell of a bankroll. And like I say, me and him was close. We was real close. And I went and talked to Otis. Otis told me, he said, man, we come up with about 30,000, you understand, we'll be back on the map again. So what I did, I went, you understand, and talked to Paul and told Paul what was happening. He asked me, was I planning on staying in Detroit? I told him, yeah. He said, well, man, what you need? I told him, you understand, me and Otis was trying to get some money together. And he said, well, so I told him, you understand, 30,000. He said, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give y'all 50. So he loaned me 50,000. And me and Otis got together, you understand, and then I had to connect, and Otis had to connect. We was getting cane and boy. And I'm talking about it got to the point we was getting anywhere from 150 to 200 keys a month, and then 2 or 3 keys a boy. But like I said, things was going real good. I was over on the east side, over on 6 Mile and Connors, in the apartment buildings across the street from the graveyard. I had 4 apartments in that building, and one of our friends, Dugan, I had him an apartment in the other building. So like I say, man, you know, we had them coming in and out of that building, man. I mean, selling everything. And things had got kind of hot. It got kind of hot for me, you understand, because where I was going to get the sales from, the guy, me and him was real cool. He told me that the Border Patrol that came in there trying to find out who owned that, who phone number that was they were tracking. And he told me. And when he told me that, man, that same day, I relocated. I left the building and everything. But anyway, and that came from just then the guy that had the cell phone store, you know. And so after that, me and Otis, you understand, kept on doing what we was doing. Then we messed around there and we had got Club Juanita's. And then a year or two later, we had Club Upscale in the Fisher building. And like I said, things was going all right for us. Otis, you understand, then I ended up getting married. He was my best man at my wedding, and I was the best man in his. And so me and him, his family and my family, we was going all down different islands and stuff. We would be going on vacation all the time. And then, like I say, man, when that was going on, I got indicted. Right after that process, I was dealing with the wrong person. This girl, you understand, she was dealing with me, and she had a connect with these Africans. And some kind of way or another, you understand, she got caught up in some shit, and then she, you understand, put the feds on me. You understand, because she wanted to buy some keys to Kane.
What year?
This was in '97. This was in '97. Yeah, and so like I said, when she did that, you understand, I got indicted. Me and Otis still had the club. So he gave me I had a going away party down there at Juanita's. And like I said, man, it was niggas from all over the United States, you understand, coming to that party. And like I said, that same particular night, we had Freddie Jackson down there, you understand, in the bar, you understand, performing, you know. And like I said, you know, Otis, when I went to jail, he ended up, you understand, getting killed on Davidson and Woodward. Like I said before, dealing with the wrong people, you know. But other than that, man, I really miss him a whole lot because me and him was real close. Me and him was getting a lot of money. Man. We was going down back and forth down to El Paso, you understand, getting our packages and stuff. Like I say, for years, me and Otis, we did a lot of things together, man, you know, as far as with him, and I miss him a whole lot.
What was the time in Vegas like?
Anytime we went to Vegas, we had a good time, but we did a lot of traveling to different islands and stuff, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that down in the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, you know, Virgin Islands and all that, you know.
When you talking to me, you talk just like you talk right now.
Like I'm talking right now.
Camera come on, you ask, so Junior asks you a question, you just give him a
This nigga here ain't no pleasing him, man. Like I said, man, ain't no pleasing him. Ain't no pleasing this man.
Talk to me.
All right, I'm gonna act like him. I'm gonna be talking to him, and I'm gonna be talking to you. You see,
You used to tell a story way different than Fat
cause I be so dog excited, don't it?
Yeah, and you'll be Fat Boy. Come here, let me tell you this about this. You remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. All right, but you.
I'll be talking to y'all later.
All right, love you, man.
In a minute.
All right, what up?
Willie Robert Brown Jr., still live, West Africa, Dakar, Senegal. We're here to talk about a little bit today, which was our follow-up project after we had came out with the award-winning book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. I don't know if everyone knows, but we actually did another book that wasn't related to the story of my father and Eddie, and that was Mind Right, Money Right. It was kind of our way of giving back. I wanted to share some of the insights and some things that allowed me to have the business success I've had, and how that came from, because it's all about exposure, family. You know, when you think bigger, when you've seen bigger, you think bigger, and when you know better, you do better. So as I'm sitting here in West Africa, chapter 1 in this book is called When We Were Kings. And I don't know, for you, a lot of people out there, family, may not know that by academia, by schooling, I am a historian. So I've always had a great interest in where I am, where I come from, and what I'm about, you know. In fact, just recently, I took that Ancestry.com test. They send you a little kit, and you send them a little saliva sample, and they can actually tell you, family, where you come from here. So, like, I'm 60% Nigerian, a little bit from Ghana, a little bit from what is now Angola. So, because I think, you know, we talk about in this chapter, When We Were Kings, if we understood that every African American has a cousin and family member here on the continent of Africa, likely in South America. If the brothers and sisters here in Africa understood that they got cousins, we'd put this thing together and we'd be getting money together. And once we figure out that whether you're in South Carolina or Senegal, where I'm at, we're all in the same boat together. So, you know, I was reviewing the book when we were teens. We talk about the black man Mansa Musa was the richest man that the world has ever known, and that's according to Forbes magazine, right? So if you're not hip on Mansa Musa, Google up that name. His empire was right here where I'm sitting now. And just to kind of inspire you, because it wasn't that long ago that a black man was king of this land and controlled the world's controlled the world's gold, silver, salt, and was regarded as he was the richest man of his time and the richest man the world has ever known. And if we understood that we come from kings, that's not just something that the Hotep brothers and sisters be saying, but it's the truth. So we can all do a little bit better. But in these times we live now, man, with all this going on, you know, this George Floyd thing, the police shooting us, the things and struggles that's going over here on the continent, and really just we people of color all over the world, the situation we find ourselves in. You know, get this book a read, man. I'm not just saying as a plug. In fact, I think I'm going to do a little promotion when I get back, really make it accessible. It'll give you some real insights to really be able to connect the dots. That's Getting Off Zero, named after Brother Ray Tatum's company down in Atlanta. You know, we hooked up about, that was in 07, and Big Boss Filmworks and Getting Off Zero have been doing business together ever since. And our theory is simply this, brothers and sisters. If you get your mind right, you'll get your money right. And once you get your money right, you can come enjoy some of this beautiful thing that we call planet Earth. So holla at your man. Again, 10-year anniversary of Big Boss Filmworks. We are really, really happy and proud. We thank you guys so much. Check out our catalog. Getting Off Zero, Mind Right, Money Right. You want more of the real intel, detailed stories on how Pops and Eddie Jackson, the Fat Man, put it down in the 70s. Pick up the book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. You got Amazon. Check out the doc, Motown Mafia, the story of Eddie Jackson and Courtney Brown. And also, our newest works, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. Give us a shout. 10-year anniversary, Big Boss Filmworks, BigBossFilmworks.com. Salute, peace, and thank you all. I'm out.
Big Willie was another guy that was close to Ed and us. He was the guy from the neighborhood that was pimping back during that time.
Big Willie KILPATRICK.
Yeah, that was his name. And his wife was named Mary. You understand? And Big Willie, you understand, he always been in the game. I mean, he was a fast-talking country motherfucker, but Willie was a good guy. You know, and he knew a lot of people, you know, and like I say, see, like anybody, you understand, that wanted some money, they was getting close, trying to get to Eddie if they know them. You understand? It was just a few people. Now, Russell Clayton, he was one of the original ones. Rudolph, the Garrett brothers, 5-0, Charlie, Junie, Zach. That was just half of the brothers, you understand? But those the ones that was close. And C-Dale and Jap was one of the first two guys that started selling, was the first two runners that was for Eddie at the time. And it was a lot of guys that was coming and going. And just like Peter Gunn, me, Peter Gunn, and Dean's name was Robert Robertson. And we was the only ones that was really, you understand, hitting the road and going from state to state, taking drugs to different states, you understand? But I was the #1 driver. I'm talking about, like I said, I used to take trips back to back. It depended on where I was going. I was getting $30,000 a run, depending on what I was, you understand, transporting. That's when I was going back and forth up in New York. But like I say, after we started spreading out, we was selling drugs all on the East Coast, down south. You know, Me and 5-0 used to go up in Massachusetts and set up shop. Like I said, it's a lot of things that I'd have forgot. But at that time, you understand, you might as well say we was international because we was going everywhere at that time. And we had a hell of a team, you understand, as far as for the law. Milton Henry and Eddie tax lawyer, Lloyd Cohen, them was the baddest motherfuckers you ever seen in your life. Until
Norman
Eddie
Davis?
Huh?
You know Norman Davis?
Norman Davis, yeah.
He was an accountant too, buddy.
Yeah. And Eddie had that lawyer out of New York, Ross Black. Yeah. Like I say, he was F. Lee Bailey partner. They the one who wrote law books. You know?
And come to just find out, to show you the smallness of the world, Frank Matthews had F. Lee Bailey doing some work for him at the same time as y'all had his partner, Ross Black.
Uh-huh.
So y'all both, that cruise with Frank Matthews' crew and y'all was about...
Yeah, I know it.
About
like
there.
I say, Frank Matthews, first time I ever ran into him, I was locked, me and him was locked up in the same cell. That was back in, I forgot what year it was. But like I say, you understand, you know, at that time, like I had mentioned before, back in that time, at Christmas time, all the number men and all the drug dealers would meet up in Vegas. That was every Christmas. In this particular Christmas, you understand, I think all this came down because Frank Matthews was in the town. I think that's why they riled us all up, was that, you know. But they already was hip to us because, you know, we had been going to Vegas every year around Christmas. You know, so I don't know how that happened because it was a whole lot of heavy hitters back there in Vegas that particular night, you know. Christmas. Big Wingate, he used to stay out there in Vegas. You know, he was one of the biggest number men in the city, you know. You know, and Stokes ended up being a big number two before he died, number man before he died. Stokes was a hell of a guy. And Herbert Daniels, he was another big number man.
That's the one they called Heavy Herbie?
That was his son was Heavy Herbie, yeah.
What was the daddy name?
Herbert Daniels, Jr. I mean, Jr.'s the other one, is the senior, you know. And like I said, you understand, it's a lot of guys, you understand, that was getting money back in that time. The number men and that cocaine was their thing. You understand? I'm talking about two niggas, because at that time, there was no such thing as no rocks. You know, then there was a rich man high, you know, and then, I mean, they was going through with it too, you know. And then it's a few other people that I want to mention, you understand, like when Chucky used to have a pool room on 7 Mile, him and his partner, Blood, they was some hell of a guy. Now, Blood, you know, I love him to death, you understand? Me and Blood just did a lot of things together. He was the smoothest guy that I ain't seen in a long time. I mean, he was quiet, but he was handling his business, Blood, you know? And it's like I say, this city here, man, it was something. It really is. The hustlers were back in then, they ain't around. And then I want to mention something about Memphis, show you how small the world is. I had a hotel down on Wine and Brush. They called it the Shady Rest. I had 52 units in them. All the guys out the projects that was hustling, getting money, they was getting rooms down there. And this particular day, this guy by the name of Silk Bellamy, he was close to me. He used to come see me all the time. A lot of guys used to come down to my hotel, you understand, just, you know, kicking it, whatever. This particular day, I'll never forget this day. Memphis Slim pulled up at my building. He was supposed to be meeting Silk at my building. And when he came, Silk told me that he was waiting on Memphis. So Memphis pulled up, you understand, he came in the building, me and him kicking and whatever. I hadn't seen him in a good while, but he came down there to meet Silk. And he told Silk, come on, ride with him. He was going to take us some business. And I was in my office. Silk came to me and asked, he said, man, I'm getting ready. He said, I'm getting ready to go. He said, why don't you come on ride with me in Memphis? I said, I'm going to ride with you in Memphis. Where y'all going? He said, I don't know. He want me to ride with. I said, I'm not going nowhere. I said, if you got a sense, you shouldn't just be riding or somebody, you don't know where you're going. And that was around 11 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock news. They had Memphis Slim in a car where he got killed on 8 Mile somewhere.
Ooh.
I'll never forget that day. You know?
Devil Jackson.
Devil, I know him. This was back in the 70s. All I know about Devil, you know, he was a pimp. And you know, at that time, you know, everybody knew, you understand, that Eddie was getting money, which he already had money. He got his money, you understand, from John Claxton. That's where Eddie, when Eddie, you understand, stopped dealing with John, he was rich then. A lot of people didn't know that. And then so he was going different states, trying, you know, just going wherever he had to go to try to get some more stuff. And Devil was one of them guys that had certain plugs up in New York because the prostitutes that he had, because he was pimping up there. And like I say, he, you understand, Devil, you understand, had a bad name in certain people from what I heard, you understand, about that, you know, keep your eyes on him and whatever. But anyway, he ended up, you understand, Eddie stopped fucking with him because he couldn't produce what he said he was going to come up with. And Eddie stopped fucking with him. And then, like I say later, you understand, he ended up, you understand, getting killed in front of his house over there on Boston. That's all I can say about Devil. And I want to say this, like them after-hour joints. Back then, Stokes was the best after-hour joint in town that you can go to, because if you come there, he gonna make sure you don't have no problems in there. And if you came in his joint with a pistol, he gonna beat your ass. You understand? That's the way Stokes was. Like they had the Ponderosa, they had the Super Pig used to be on Puritan. And then you understand, Don Johnson.
Mr. Kelly, all right.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly, yes, it was on Shane. The 19 hole. You understand? It was about some of the number one after-hour joint. And Superfly Ryan was the one started bringing the go-go dancers to the after-hour joint. He used to have, when he started coming up to Stokes, you understand, that's where they started, you understand, having the girls, you understand, stripping in the after-hour joint. And Superfly Rhyme was a hell of a guy too. You understand? He was, if you can remember back in the day, he got busted. And when agents came to his house, he had real live tigers and shit in his backyard. You know, he loved those exotic animals and shit like that. You know, and like I say, Superfly Rhyme started off with Al Finch. And Al Finch used to be hooked up with Eddie and us. But like I said, it was so many guys that was getting money back in that day. Milwaukee Jack, me and him was real close. Him and his man Treacherous, you know. Like I said, Big Butch and his brother Watusi. There's so many guys that was getting money back in that day, you know. And sad to say, you understand, there ain't too many of us left. It ain't too many of us left, you understand, to be here to talk about it. But Detroit, it was a hell of a city. As far as getting money, and then coming with this family, another family I want to talk about, the Bobo family. They was from Memphis. It was a whole lot of them. All of them was pimps. James, Bill, Herbert, Prince. I think that might be his nephew.
That's the old man, main man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And had a sister named Philistine. And I was close to all of them. And then when they first came to Detroit, they brought their hoes with them from Memphis. And I mean, they had some fine motherfuckers down there. And then they had a lot of problems when they got down there. Coming in trying to, understand, take nigga hoes and shit like that. But by me, being close to their family, I stopped a lot of problems with them. You understand? I'm talking about, they would have been got fucked up because they was down in my neighborhood. And I stopped a lot of guys, you understand, from giving them problems. Sam Cannon, he was another guy getting money. You understand? And pimping, you know? And then back in that day when we used to go to 20 grand, the clubs that we used to go to, the Burning Spear, used to be on Puritan. Marvin Figgins and Bill Brown, they the one had that.
What you know about George Blair?
George Blair, he was a hell of a pimp. He was getting money, you understand? He loved them white hoes. Yeah, he was getting money over there. His area was over there around Cash, all over in there. You understand? Yeah, like I said, he much older than me, you understand? But he was pimping as long as I've been knowing him. Because the neighborhood where Ed and us all go, that's all was down there was pimps and hoes. Wow. And thieves, boosters, that was all. You know? So like I say, as far as down there, you understand, that valley was a hell of a place, you know? And then I want to talk about C.Dale Kincaid. He was real close to me. And Eddie. Eddie loved C.Dale, but he was just so fucking wild. You know, that's Benji and Tim brother. You know, and like I say, it was a lot of guys. See, when anybody saying something about Eddie, talking about doing something shady to him, they wouldn't even say nothing to him or nothing. They'll go take care of themselves. Like I know, see there, you understand, he was the main one. And little Jerry Bunny, you understand, all us growed up together. And there was some hell of a guys that was down there in that valley. For real. They talk about the Brewster Projects. Them guys at the projects didn't come down to the valley. And that's no lie. That's no lie. For real. Them valley boys was a motherfucker, boy. A Philistine, you understand?
Yeah, I was just a Philistine, and James used to come up to when it was the ice cream shop.
This here, man. Let me tell you something.
Come up here.
Let me tell you
all
about
the time.
Do you know that whole family? Do you know there's only 2 brothers left?
And did you know Prince?
Yeah.
Prince got 10.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he wasn't a nephew. You understand? But I'm talking about, you understand, them motherfuckers, man. It was about 9 of them brothers. Pete, all them men, all of them was pimping, and them brothers was pimping across country, Vegas, California, New York. That's the kind of pimping them niggas was doing.
And when they were down there in Memphis,
yeah, I know
doing that bag when he was dealing with the Pakistanis and Eddie was over French Road,
yeah.
Fat Frank, they was moving. 30% of it was dealing down in Memphis.
I know it.
They was getting money.
I know it.
They was getting money down in Memphis.
But and then James, not James Bill, you understand? You know, he had messed around there and got him a doctor, and he had started. He had got the pharmacy, you understand?
Yes,
and there, you understand, he had bought a big house out in Sherwood Forest, you understand? And like I said, he messed around there, must have been around the wrong people, man. Somebody shot him and threw him out on 8 Mile. Wow. That's what happened to Bill, yeah. But James is on,
pills?
Giving pills, yeah. James, you understand, he's still living. And and the other brother, the oldest one, Doug, you know, he always been in business. You know, he done had limousine service and Burger King. I'm the whole family, man. I'm not talking about, but it's just so sad, man. Just about all of them did, man. You know, like I say, that's just life, man. That's just life. And James, not James. Then they got, you understand, cousins. Cousins, they're close to them. Now you're gonna surprise you. X, Scotty Red, they first cousin.
Is that right?
Yeah. Scotty Red and X, and
When did I run into X? No, it was been years.
And then getting to somebody else who was on my mind. I didn't know Demetrius personally, but his main man is my man right today. I mean, this guy here was his right hand. His name is Big Jim.
He famous.
I know a Big Jim, yeah. You know, he been had after-hour joints, you understand? Forever, gambling joints, you know? And like I said, you understand, he was Demetrius' right hand.
Wow.
You know? And getting to those after-hour joints, the police, you understand, when I used to hang, Eddie didn't go to no after-hour joints. I was the one that go at night. I mean, because I was at that time, man, all I was doing, man, was partying, you understand, being up all night. You understand, after I get through dropping him off at night, then I started partying. I'd go in every after-hour joint, not all of them, because certain of them I just didn't go to. Because there still was a lot of, you understand, shady motherfuckers out there, you know. And the Ponderosa, what the police used to do, like, whatever car, they just about know what cars belongs to the crew of Eddie Jackson. If I park in front of the Ponderosa, and the certain police are riding by and see my car, they'll come knock on the door and say, "Is Black Butch in here?" And half the time they don't even open the door. They'll come and tell me, say, "Man, the police outside want you." I say, "The police?" He said, "Yeah." They say, "If you don't come out, they're gonna come in." And so I would go outside. They would stop me, man, and at that time they were selling those police field state tickets. And they make me buy all of them. I mean, every time they would sell them, if they see my car somewhere, they'll make me buy all of them. I had to stop parking the car at certain places because they see the car. They know you got to be somewhere close. That's right. And that's the truth, man. I couldn't go nowhere in certain cars.
Wow.
Because they would pull me over. Some of them they just want to look in the car to see how it looked and all that shit. Because at that time we had phones in all the cars. That was back in the 70s. In the late 60s and the early 70s, we had phones in all the cars.
That's a fact.
And then, like I said, I can go from on and on with different stories. I'll tell you about another story. I was coming back from New York, and that was my thing, transporting drugs, you understand, from different states. And I had came in one night. I was going on Prairie and Curtis. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what had happened, you understand, but when I got ready to turn on Prairie, the police, you understand, flicked me over. I couldn't stop because I was loaded. I just got back from New York. And so I was, you know, me and Eddie had two Trans Am, 274 Trans Am. They was the pace cars back in '74. And plus two, we had just put them in a Porterfield, Wilson. They had swooped them up. They got behind me, man, and I just went to try to get away from them, which I did get away from them. And I called Eddie and told him what was going on. So what he did yesterday, I don't know where it was when I called it, but he told me, you understand, where I was trying to go. I told him I was trying to make it to Toledo, you understand? And it was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be going to about 180 miles an hour, and I had the whole freeway to myself that time of night. And like I said, I did get away, and he met me in Toledo. That was the incident that happened, you know?
The police chased you all the way to Ohio.
All the way, you understand? I lost their heavy. They was out of sight. Out of sight.
Remember Peter Gunn? Now, I don't remember that well. I remember Peter Gunn well. But Big Willie, I know was getting money because every time he gets something new, the old man come on home. Big Willie was the first one that he knew that got that. And Eddie, they had the refrigerator with the water and the ice that came out.
Yeah.
I remember the old man said, Eddie, he seen something at Big Willie house. Yeah. Next thing I know, 1 week now, Eddie had the refrigerator with the ice and water. A week later, we got it. Microwave oven.
Yeah.
Them niggas came home talking about Big Willie got this damn machine. You can put popcorn in it and in 4 minutes, it's ready.
Big Willie was real. He was a slimy motherfucker. He would go back. He would backdoor you. You understand?
Was he?
Yeah, but we all liked him because we all growed up together. You understand?
Because he was always around.
I know he was around. You understand?
It's really, I'll be honest, when I remember as far as working like that, every night Joe Weaver would come because every night Joe
That was your daddy, man. That was his left arm. Joe Weaver.
Every night Joe Weaver would be at our house and he'd have to catch a cab back home. Really,
yeah.
Was running around.
Yeah.
That's who he would be with.
That was his main man. That was your daddy, main man.
Joe Weaver. Reggie be around a lot.
Right, but them two.
But Joe
was with your daddy 24/7. Yeah.
Joe Weaver was there.
He was the one, and they fucked around there and bought him a car. And he didn't even know how to drive, man, but that motherfucking Joe, man, you said, boy, that was some comical shit there.
I mean, really.
We had a
hell of a guy. Simple guys that got involved in some extraordinary shit.
Just like Ronald Hamilton. He was another one. He stayed at the house. Yeah. He was the one that cleaned the cars up and shit. Ronald?
Yeah.
And making runs and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, well, go ahead, you record anyway, it's fine. But you just explained to me, even as a kid, I was confused. I'd be like, why Joe Weaver have to catch a cab home every night? Even as a kid, I figured out the money he couldn't drive.
He couldn't drive.
It just not made sense.
He couldn't read and write.
Man.
All he did was take pictures.
As a kid, I used to wonder. I said, why Joe Weaver have to call a cab every night? I know
all these cars around here,
all these cars out here, and all the cars. I know he right with you.
Yeah.
Now
you know why. And I'm going to talk about Paul Orr.
He was big for
me. Yeah, he was real big, you understand? He the one, you understand, that loaned me and Otis to get back in the box when me and Otis had fell down. And he loaned me $50,000. Paul Orr. Paul had a brother-in-law by the name J.C. Rex. He was another person that was getting money back in the 70s. And Paul had a son named Shantae. He was a professional football player. You know, like I say, Paul family and my family was real close for years. And like I had mentioned about Paul, when talking about Otis. Paul, you understand, I ain't never seen a person, you understand, would roll the way he would. This nigga would be riding down the street. He didn't turn out no money. This nigga had 2 or 3 keys in his van, and he'd stop and sell a nigga a dime pack. Anybody tell you about how Paul was. He had the whole east side, you understand, sold up, you understand? And he was a good guy too. And he had quite a few brothers that was getting money too. Rodney, you understand, Daryl, and Larry, and like I said, all of them, you understand, they was a real close family. And Paul, you understand, his name, you understand, on the east side was good. It was a good name, you understand. He helped people, you understand, but he wouldn't turn out no money. I ain't never seen nobody sit up in the house, leave the front door open, and with 2 or 3 keys on the table, and just like he had license, and niggas coming in and out. But that's just the way Paul, you understand, ran his business. And like I say, Paul, there was so many niggas that was on the east side getting money at that particular time. You know, a person wouldn't believe that kind of money was coming. You understand? Not just on the east side, but downtown and on the west side. But downtown was the main spot. I'm talking about for the amount of niggas that was getting money. Like some niggas, like guys like Ronald Holmes, Ron Seacrest, Superfly Ron, Al Finch. It's a whole lot of guys. Dodo, you know. And like I say, it's a whole lot of guys that was getting money down there. The Godfather, you understand? And I just can't think of all of them. Big Nose, and his son ended up started getting a lot of money. Lawrence and KK, little Lawrence and KK, those was his sons, and they was getting money, you know. And like I say, you can't name all the niggas that was getting money down there. And just mention some more. Memphis Slim. And then I want to get into another story. Butch Harris. Him and Reno, he had his whole clique. Big Wimp, Muggs. All of them, you understand, used to hang out together, you understand. They was all, you understand, cool with Maurice Down, you know. And Adolph Ellerton, you know, he was a smooth guy back in the day too. You know, but like I say, man, it's another guy. New York Dave. You understand? I can name them all day long. And the guys that I'm naming is people that I know, not what nobody had told me. You know? So like I say, back in that day, you understand, man, money was around. It was plentiful. It really was.
It was just time to really tell a great untold Detroit story because it kind of covers Detroit at its zenith. Very interesting story.
We decided that we were going to make a movie.
All right, Rich Rossi with you with Motown Mafia. I'm with Courtney
Louis Stevens,
Courtney Brown,
Courtney Brown Jr.
And Alan Al Prophet Bradley.
And this is an entrepreneurial, inspirational story too, because again, you know, I'm a real estate retail guy. You know, that's what my skill set is. But I'm a businessman, so I was like, you know, we're gonna do it. You know, sometimes when you got a dream, you won't have all the answers on how you're gonna do what you're gonna do.
What made this one unique was not so much the crime, but the intertwining with Detroit's history and the Motown era and kind of the economic decline of Detroit. And it's really the story of a family. And from some perspectives, it has a happy ending, like you said. For others, it didn't have a happy ending.
Right.